Hey everyone! Before we get into today's story, if you enjoy real life stories like this, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a new upload. When my fiance asked me for some space, I didn't see it as a warning sign. Most people panic when they hear the words, "I need a break," but I didn't. I trusted her completely. One evening, Olivia sat across from me at our kitchen table. She looked tired, not angry. In a quiet voice, she said, "I need a little time apart to figure some things out." I simply nodded and replied, "Okay." And I meant it. My name is Jackson Reed. I'm 36 years old and I work in commercial design. I've always believed that problems should be solved calmly instead of being turned into unnecessary drama. I pay my bills on time, keep my promises, and try to do the right thing. Olivia and I had been together for 4 years and engaged for the last 8 months. She had a soft laugh that always made me smile. Whenever she called me Jack, everything felt safe and familiar. We were planning a simple fall wedding with warm colors, close family, and a small group of friends. We didn't care about expensive decorations or a huge celebration. We only cared about starting our lives together. The break was supposed to last 2 weeks. She told me she needed some quiet time to think. I suggested staying with my brother for a while so she could have the apartment to herself, but she said she wanted to stay at her sister's place instead. I helped her pack. I folded her sweaters, placed her laptop carefully inside its case, carried her bags to the door, and kissed her gently on the forehead before she left. Looking back now, maybe there was guilt written all over her face. If it was there, I completely missed it. The apartment felt empty after she left. The silence was almost unbearable, so I buried myself in work. I stayed late at the office, arrived early every morning, and kept telling myself that giving someone space was a sign of real trust. If you've ever believed that love sometimes means stepping back instead of holding on tighter, hit the like button so more people can hear this story. 3 days later, Olivia's messages started changing. The texts became shorter, the warmth disappeared, the little heart emojis were gone. I noticed the difference, but I didn't question her. I wanted to respect the space she had asked for. On the fifth evening, something unexpected happened. Her tablet, which she had accidentally left behind, lit up on the coffee table. At first, I ignored it. Then it lit up again and again. Finally, I glanced at the screen. Every notification came from someone named Jordan. I told myself I was only checking to make sure nothing was wrong. That's usually how people justify the first mistake. When I unlocked the tablet, the conversation was already open. The very first message made my stomach drop. Timing is everything. He has to believe it's his. For a second, I honestly thought I had misunderstood. I kept scrolling, hoping the next message would explain everything. Instead, things only became worse. Another message read, "Once you tell him you're pregnant, don't wait too long. He'll do what he always does." Then another. "Just make sure the timeline makes sense." My hands turned cold. I could barely breathe. I kept reading, praying it was some horrible joke or misunderstanding. It wasn't. They were talking about me. Olivia and Jordan had planned the entire break. She was seeing another man, and they intended to convince me that the baby she was expecting belonged to me. They wanted to use that lie to push the wedding forward before I ever questioned anything. Then Jordan sent another message. "Guys don't look too closely when they're scared of losing you." I just sat there with the tablet resting on my lap. The screen glowed in the dark room while it felt like the ground beneath my life had disappeared without making a sound. If you believe betrayal hurts even more when it's carefully planned instead of happening in the heat of the moment, leave a comment below. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I didn't throw the tablet across the room. Instead, something inside me simply shut down. As I continued reading, I found even more messages. There were conversations about doctor appointments, fake schedules, and excuses they planned to use if I ever became suspicious. One message hit harder than the others. "If he starts asking questions, just cry. That usually works." That was the exact moment my love for Olivia changed into something I couldn't even recognize. I didn't call her immediately. Most people probably would have, but shock doesn't always create loud reactions. Sometimes it creates silence. I wanted to know everything. I wanted to see just how far they had taken this lie and whether she would continue pretending when she came back. 2 days later, Olivia called me. Her voice sounded warm and familiar. She said she missed me. She said the time apart had helped her think clearly. Jack, she whispered, I think we should see each other soon. I quietly answered, Sure. Then I ended the call and stared at the wall until the room became dark. That was the moment I realized this story was no longer about love. It was about trust. And trust, once broken like this, can never truly be put back together. That night, I couldn't sleep. Instead, I replayed every memory we had shared, every promise, every smile. Every time someone questioned Olivia's honesty and I defended her without hesitation, I'd always believed she would never betray me. It's amazing how confidence can disappear in a single moment. The next morning, I emailed all the screenshots from her tablet to myself and saved them in a folder named Reality. I still didn't know exactly what I was going to say when we met again. I only knew one thing: I wouldn't let anger control me. When someone has carefully planned to deceive you, rage only clouds your judgment. The truth gives you real power. Later that afternoon, Olivia sent me another message. I'm ready to come home. I looked at those words for a long time before replying. The break had done exactly what it was supposed to do, but not in the way she had expected. Before answering, I asked myself one important question. Was I preparing to confront her, or was I preparing to set myself free? About an hour later, I finally replied with a single sentence. Come over tomorrow night. No emoji, no explanation, no questions. The following evening, Olivia walked through the front door looking relaxed. She smiled as if everything was returning to normal. She leaned over and kissed my cheek out of habit, but the moment she realized I didn't respond, her smile faded. We sat across from each other at the same kitchen table where she had first asked for a break. Same table, same chairs, a completely different reality. She started talking first. She told me how much she had missed me, how the time apart had made her realize how strong our relationship really was, and how she couldn't wait for us to move forward together. I listened without interrupting. As she spoke, I noticed she avoided specifics. She kept her hands tightly clasped together as if she was afraid they might reveal what her words were trying to hide. When she finally stopped talking, she looked at me, expecting comfort. Instead, I slowly slid my phone across the table. The screenshots were already open. She didn't touch the phone. Her eyes dropped to the screen, then quickly looked away before returning again. Her lips parted as if she wanted to explain, but no words came out. Finally, she whispered, Jack, it's not what you think. I remained silent. Silence has a strange effect on people who are lying. They often rush to fill it. That's exactly what she did. She claimed Jordan had exaggerated everything. She said she had been confused. She insisted she was afraid of losing me and didn't know how to tell me she was having doubts about our relationship. Then she said the one sentence that ended everything. I just wanted a safety net. A safety net. As if love were nothing more than a backup plan. As if manipulating someone into raising another man's child was simply another option. I stood up calmly. There was no shouting, no dramatic scene. You planned to make me believe another man's baby was mine, I said evenly, and the two of you practiced exactly how to fool me. She burst into tears and reached for my hand. I quietly pulled it away. She begged me to give us another chance. She suggested counseling. She talked about our engagement. She even mentioned the wedding vows we had planned to exchange. Then I gave her the only answer that mattered. I'm not angry, I said. I'm finished. Anger would have meant there was still something left worth fighting for. There wasn't. I replied with only one request: a paternity test. She never contacted me again. The truth has a way of ending conversations very quickly. I mailed back the engagement ring. Later, I sold it and donated every dollar to a local shelter. It felt right to turn something built on lies into something that could genuinely help other people. Eventually, I moved into a new apartment. I created new routines. Slowly, I discovered how peaceful life could be when it wasn't filled with doubt or constant suspicion. Looking back now, I've learned something important. Real love never traps you. True commitment never depends on lies or manipulation. Anyone who secretly plans your future without your knowledge isn't your partner. They're a danger to your peace. I don't hate Olivia. I don't wish her any harm. But I also refuse to carry the weight of lessons I never asked to learn. Walking away wasn't giving up. It was choosing to protect myself.